Welcome to Adaya's Homestead. I have about 8,000 square feet of backyard space, and I am slowly nurturing and creating a beautiful and functional homestead. And I'm so excited that you are here to see the progress. So from the last couple videos, you guys have been seeing that I've been stuck on my garden design and how I want to set things up. I took my sweet time with that because once it's set, I don't really want to move it for a while. And so I finally figured it out. I looked up a lot of nice ideas online, and this is the idea that I felt made the most sense in my backyard. So this is a family home, and I am going to be using the family's backyard to build this homestead. And also on updated news, with that being said, me and Sense, we will be moving across the road. It's literally a 2-minute drive from my family's home, and so we will be still using the backyard to continue this really amazing project, because where we are moving there is no yard, it's just a balcony, but I will still be growing a little small garden on the balcony, so stay tuned for that as well. I cannot wait to see how that goes. But here I'm gonna set everything up, and I'll be coming here probably every week, once a week, to check on everything, make sure everything is growing nicely. So I'm gonna also encourage you guys as well that if you have family that is willing to let you borrow the yard, or friends that are kind enough to let you borrow the yard, you definitely should do it. And even if it's just a little small patch, because maybe you live in an apartment or condos that don't really have much backyard space, well, that's okay. There's always a way. We can always borrow each other's backyards, but people have to be okay with it. And well, with my family, they're completely fine with it. So this is going to be an exciting project, and I'm glad that you're here on this channel. If you are also a new homesteader, this channel is perfect for you. You will be encouraged to at least try it. And this is a skill that I am learning, and there's going to be a lot of mistakes, but then there's going to be a lot of success. So I'm excited. And on that note, we have a big project to tackle today, and I need to get this done before I move. I'm going to be moving a week from now, so I need to get this settled in. And I'm just glad that I finally figured out the design of the garden, because at least that is out of the way. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to be filling up all the beds, and then I will be showing you guys what I possibly will be putting in, like what I'm going to be growing, what veggies I'll be growing, and then I'll show you my little flower patch that I'm going to be having there as well. And yeah, so let's walk through the garden, and let's start with that, and then we'll go ahead and start filling up all the garden beds. Let's go. So I went ahead and picked up a hat to wear because it is warm. It's very sunny outside. In Las Vegas, we have such unique weather where in winter time we do get some warm days. So today is about like 70 degrees. So it's a perfect day to be outside in the garden and planning and planting. It's a good time to start all of that. But in February here in Vegas, we have like a very cold month, and that is February, and that is basically where you get the cold fronts coming in, and sometimes we can get a lot of rain. It just depends. I don't know really what to expect this time around, but February is around the corner, so I'm glad that I'm able to get this started before we get really cold fronts coming in. But today it's nice and warm and very sunny, so you have to wear your hat. Okay guys, let me show you guys my design. So for the garden design, I decided to go with an L shape, and that is because I need to be able, so summertime is very hot and we have so much sun here in Vegas, so I have to be able to put a shade over this garden patch, this veggie patch. So I'm going to be using the roof up here, and I'm going to be attaching a 50% shade, and I'm going to be covering the whole patch where I can walk under it. I was originally going to just use the hoops that go over the veggie garden, but I realized I don't really like that. I want to be comfortable walking in the veggie patch, so that's why I felt like using the shade going over is nicer, because then I don't have to worry about maybe removing the shade off of the veggie patch and having to get some more space so that some vegetables can grow a little taller, and you can't really like use the hoops for that. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that is basically why I made the decision to hook the 50% shade from the roof to a pole. So this is a little temporary pole that I put here. I'll show you guys in a moment, but I just had that pole there just to have an idea of what it would look like, and so far I just love the look. So I have an L shape here, and basically I'm going to be deciding which vegetables will go in each box. I have about 1, 2, 3, 4. We have about 4 boxes, and I need to make sure that I'm not mixing the wrong vegetables in the wrong box. So that will be something else we'll be organizing today. I look forward to that. And then on this side, I put 2 crates here, and I have these 2 crates here to put potted, to put some pots on top. So that basically is going to be some of the herbs like cilantro, basil, possibly maybe tomatoes. I'm gonna see how I end up doing it, because I do have some big pots that I can use, and I can just put them here in the center. So I just gave it a little bit of a paint because it didn't look too nice, and so we just chose this nice blue color just to lighten up the mood here in the garden area. But that is pretty much it. I'm still trying to figure out what I will put on top of the crates, and well, I guess we'll find out how I do that one, because I still don't know. I'm still brainstorming, but I have an idea and I feel good about it. And then also, let me give you a closer look, because I also have a little patch here that I'm thinking to create a flower bed. So let me give you a closer look. So here you guys can see I have a little bit left over of this weed barrier, and it goes across all the way over here right to the end of the garden bed. So basically what I was thinking to do, I wasn't originally going to do this, but then I thought this would be the best idea. I'm going to be adding a flower bed here. So I have some cardboard box that the garden beds, the wood pieces, it was in that box. So I'm thinking I'm gonna use that box and put it here. I have 2 of those boxes, so I might use them here because they're like rectangle shaped, and I feel like that would be a very good idea to use as a pot. And I've seen that there's a lot of homesteaders that use cardboard box, and so I'm gonna try it out and see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, I won't do it again, but I think it just might. So I'm going to be filling this area with flowers, and these flowers are going to be beneficial for the veggie patch. So I have an idea of a very nice flower I'm going to use here, so I'll show you guys that later on. But here you just see like all of the soil here. This is the topsoil that I got from I forgot what the company was called, but I will link them below. If you guys are a local here in Vegas, maybe you'd be interested to take a look, do some research on the topsoil. I paid $2 for all of this, and I still have a little bit in the back. And so I probably I wanted to test. Sorry, I meant to say I wanted to test if this soil was any good. This soil is mixed with compost and our native soil. And then also I added a little bit more compost that I have local in my yard. And then I added some peat moss, and that will help to fluff up the soil. You'll see that in an old video where I'm prepping the soil. So now I do think the soil is nice and fluffy. When I was loading this off of the barrel, it was very easy to carry, because before it was so heavy, it was hard to carry any of these. But now it's nice and fluffy, nice and soft. And so now it's going to be nice to just lay, and it's going to be easy to carry as well. So I'm excited. And then I wanted to quickly show you guys, this is the pole that I installed just to have an idea of how I wanted my shade, 50% shade, to be hooked on. And I was thinking that I will have like a little hook here where I hook it on and hook it off, because in the mornings the veggie patch will need a lot of sun, but then once the sun is becoming too strong, I will cover it and hook it on there on the top there. So that's kind of an idea that I was thinking. If you guys have other tips, please comment below. I will take any good tips. Okay, so let's go ahead and fill up these beds. On an old video, I was suggested through the comments, you guys gave me good advice to add cardboard box, leaves, branches. So I have all of those ingredients, thankfully, and so I'm gonna go ahead and grab that and go ahead and fill all the beds with that. And I also have mulch. The local farm that I went to visit, you guys can see that in another, it's there in what's the video called? I visited a local farm. I explained a little bit about it there. They recommended that I use mulch to fill my garden beds as well, and I have plenty of that, so I'm gonna use some of that as well. So let's go ahead and get those ingredients. Have so much mulch and I still have so much more. I'm actually thinking that I might just use this to fill up the beds. I'm going to use the cardboard as well, but I'm going to use just the mulch. Maybe I won't need to use the leaves. I don't know. We'll see how I mix it up. But I just want to also say there are so many birds out right now and they sound so beautiful. That is something that I miss so much about living in South Africa, was all the birds that you would hear, and it just reminds me so. My camera cut off, but I was just saying that the birds sound beautiful today. That was all. Okay, so let's go and drop these off at the garden bed. I know this mulch looks heavy, but it is not heavy at all. It's very light. It's just that I just packed a lot on here, so I'm not struggling, okay? So we got our ingredients in, well, one of the ingredients. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna add some water. So this is what I've seen other gardeners do. So let's add some water and get that ingredient wet. I just wanted to show you guys that we have been getting a couple of bees in the garden, and they say that if bees are coming in your garden, then that is a good sign. The bees are adding some nutrition into the garden, and there's quite a few of them, so I'm pretty excited about that. I also wanted to show you guys that inside you'll see that it's quite dark. I just applied this very thick sealant because I want the beds to last as long as they can last. And then I just put a clear sealant on the outside. So I added about 2 layers of that and 2 layers of the dark sealant inside. So if you were wondering why it looks dark, that is the reason why it looks dark inside. Okay, so the first layer is done. Now let's add our second layer here. I'm just going to be adding all the mulch. Okay, so I decided I'm gonna add the leaves as well, so we'll have a nice little mixture in there. Just give it a nice mix. very good mix. So this is what I'm gonna do for all the beds here. And then it looks like a lot, but it's gonna get flattened as soon as I add the water. Break it up a little bit because it did clump up. We've been getting some rainy days, so all of this has been getting wet. So now it's nice to get it used up, and it smells really nice, by the way. It smells very earthy, which is so nice. Leaves, kind of like the cherry on top. Remove the debris that you do not want in there. In here, just removing it. All right, that is looking so good. Look at that, you guys. That's so awesome. On to the next. Doing my best to clean up as I go. grab another bag of leaves. Okay, so we finished layering these up. Let's go ahead and water everything down. Okay, so I am all done watering down the leaves. I'm gonna let this settle in for a little bit because the water will weigh the leaves down and it will kind of give me an idea if I need to add more leaves. Because if you're like, especially limited on soil, you don't want to spend so much money filling up the entire bed with the soil. So that's why it's nice to add a nice layer, your layers of mulch and leaves and branches, all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna let that settle in and see if it shrinks down a little bit, and then I'll see if I need to add some more leaves or not. But other than that, I'm pretty happy. I'm gonna go take a break inside. It is quite warm outside, so I'm gonna enjoy my little break, and I'll see you guys back in a few. Okay, so I just came back from my break. I let everything sit here for about like 2 hours now, and I think that all the leaves and the mulch have settled in. So when I was off camera, I went ahead and added some more leaves, and I also added a ton more water to each bed. So it looks like it's doing okay. It looks like it settled down a little bit, I can see. And so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add all of this soil to our beds. So I'm excited. So let's go ahead and start pouring. So the other day I had put all the soil on these separate pots here that I'm gonna put on the bed. This is topsoil. This is our native soil here in Las Vegas mixed with compost. So it's quite heavy. So I had to really separate it all like this just to make it easier for dumping. But I did add some peat moss in there. So it did make it a lot more lighter, which has made it a lot easier to transfer. It's nice and fluffy, which I'm very happy about because before I was not able to pick any of these things up because the soil was so heavy. But now we have a nice fluffy soil. So this is what we're looking at. I completed the first bed here. Well, not completely completed because I need to add um, perlite on top, and then I'll give it a nice little mix. So I'm realizing that I'm gonna need a little bit more soil. This is all that I have left of the topsoil. So what I'm deciding to do, I do have other soil that I can use to fill these up. And that soil is the one that I wanted to test to see if it was any good. So I'll bring that out for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and add some perlite. This is going to help for the soil to have good drainage, and also it's going to help to prevent for the soil to get dried out, I believe. I hope I'm right. So we're gonna pour a little bit on top, and then I'll give it a good mix. I'm using a brand that's called Kellogg's Organic, all natural garden soil. Sorry, guys. This is for flowers and vegetables. So I had seen a recommendation of this brand of soil. I've seen good things and bad things. I did hear that this has a little too much mulch in it, more than soil, but we'll see. So we'll try this in the other bed. So the ingredients, it says here that it's, excuse my undone nails. It says here that it's H Recycle Forest Products, H Arbor Fines, composted chicken manure, oyster shell, and dolomite limes. Oh, SPH adjusters, I see. Bat guano, warm castings, and kelp meal. So I know that kelp is very good for the plants to grow. So hopefully this will be a good buy. But this was $10, and I think this is for 3 cubits. So this is $10 compared to the topsoil that was $2 to fill these two up, and still having 3-4 of these left. And so I'm thinking what I'll do with these, I'll probably mix it in with the Kellogg's organic soil, and then I'll add some compost on top. So we'll see how that mix works, and then we'll see if this soil does us any good. Okay, so only one of these bags will fit in here, so I'll just leave it alone. I'm just going to mix it. And break up apart the pieces. There's a lot of chunky pieces here. So I'm just going to make sure those are broken apart. Okay, I'm going to go bring the topsoil. I'm going to mix it in here. The topsoil is concentrated with compost, so that's why I kind of want to mix both of them in. Hey! Okay, so we are done filling this bed up. I went ahead and had my mom check all the beds to make sure that the soil was deep enough, and she said everything is looking good. So I'm happy about that. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a very thin layer of that homemade compost we've been working on. If you're curious about how I was working on that, you can take a look at my older videos and it'll show you what I've been doing with our compost. But this is what it's been looking like, and it's quite healthy. It has a lot of nutrition in it, and that's going to be enough to have a nice, healthy veggie patch. So we're going to see how this will help the vegetables grow on this type of soil. So I'm excited to do that. So let's go ahead and spread a thin layer of this onto this bed. Now, I know I shouldn't get so excited because I haven't grown anything yet, but I have to say this looks so good. The soil looks rich. It looks well prepared. I think I think we might have success here. We'll find out, I guess. But let me just show you guys how everything looks. So this is the bed that we used that organic soil in, where it has mixed reviews. So we're gonna see if it does a good job. I did add some of the native soil and compost on top. So hopefully that'll be enough for this one. And then this bed, this one has the native soil with a lot of compost and a little bit of perlite. So we'll see which one does better. Okay, we're gonna put our final ingredient, which is the water. We need some moisture in there. I noticed that there's a couple of blobs here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and break that apart. Not blobs, but you guys know what I'm saying. Clumps. So that is all for the beds project. I'm so glad that it came out so nice. I'm so excited to see what can succeed from these two different beds. And we're also kind of experimenting. We're going to see what really works with what soil. So maybe the veggies will grow better in that garden and in the organic soil bed, or maybe it'll work better here with the native soil with compost mix. So we'll see how that turns out, and you could also stay tuned to see, maybe you're also curious what soil works best in your area. So let's see, I'm so excited. So I'll tune in for next time, and I will catch you guys again on the next upload. Thank you so much for being my guest today. And the next project that I'm going to tackle is the rose bed that I plan to put right here. And you will see that on the next upload. So stay tuned for that one too. Thank you. Bye.